Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Random Shit from a Gen Xer, and tonight we're really going random. We're going to go ahead and talk about something that pops up in life. We're going to talk about fear. Fear comes in many different forms. To be honest, I'm 6'4", 212 pounds. Yay! I used to be 310 at one time. And I have a fear of heights that used to be completely terrible. Now I'm getting better. I have a balcony. I'm up here on the fourth floor. I can go out and I can sit on the balcony and not worry about falling or anything like that. Um, 15, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, I couldn't do that. Scared me shitless, just to be straight up. You know, you can have a fear of being in crowds. You can have a fear of, you can be claustrophobic to where if the space that you're in is too small. I know somebody that has to have Xanax before they go into an MRI machine. Uh, and probably not just one. They just don't like being in that tube. Um, you can have fear from so many different things. You can have fear from driving a car. You can have fear from touching doorknobs that other people have touched. You can it, it's a lot of things that you can be fearful of. One of the things that happens to a lot of us a lot of times is that we get fearful in relationships. Instead of just going ahead and let the relationship mature fully, we as humans tend to overthink a lot of times. And yours truly, I can be an overthinker. I don't know about y'all, but overthinking is one of the worst things that I can actually go ahead and say that, that happens to me when it comes to relationships. Because what happens is you get that fear that you haven't done the right thing, you haven't done enough, that you have to say one more thing, that you have to do one more thing, that you have to go ahead and show people who you love, who you care for. You feel like you have to show them how much that you love them or how much that you care about them. And you can go ahead and really what goes ahead and happens is that you get into a relationship. Everything is going really well. It's going really great. And when I mean really great, I mean really great. And then something happens. Could be an illness, could be some silence for a little while. And then all of a sudden fear pops up. Then you're trying to fill in the blanks. We all do it. And normally when we try to fill in the blanks, what happens? You fill in the blanks with everything that is absolutely terrible. You think that they're seeing other people, that they lost their attraction to you, that you, how can I put this? That you just don't feel comfortable in a relationship. So what do? You start over texting. You start buying things. You start sending them things. You over text, you over call. Which overcalling I've never had a problem with since we've gone to cell phones and texting. Because if you over, if you, well, that's not true. I remember one time, yeah, I was overcalled. And that was after cell phones. But I digress. That was like 20 years ago. So basically, we do things that we shouldn't be doing. When you live out of fear, what happens is you start thinking irrationally, that the things in your head that you make up, you start making them real. Sometimes they are real. That's just life. But most of the time they aren't. There's a reason sometimes when people pull back. You might have hurt their feelings. You might have said something that they disagree with. You might have crossed a boundary. There's a million reasons why people go quiet for a little while. And then that fear goes ahead and pops up. What do? You overcompensate. I've been known to overcompensate before by getting gifts and sending gifts. I think a long time ago, or not, well, I think that I know that in the past, I know that somebody really liked this certain Pokemon character. Went ahead and I think that I bought like 30 different things for this person and had them sent to their place. And maybe the only thing that they kept were a pair of Pokemon shoes that were really cute. They looked like Dunks. And then a Pokemon blanket. I think that's probably all they kept out of like 30 items that cost somewhere around, I don't know, $700-800 altogether, or maybe less. I don't know, but somewhere around there, maybe anywhere from $500 to $800. So we overcompensate by going up we figure that through our fear that we need to do something in order to go ahead and make the relationship work and get it back to where it was. The real problem is that you gotta try not to let that fear get in there and take hold of you. Because when fear takes hold of you, you're not yourself anymore. You're this other person that your partner or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, whatever, you turn into somebody that they don't know. If they're starting to pull away for some reason, and then you start being a person that they don't recognize, what's going to happen? Seriously, what's going to happen? They're going to find somebody else, or they're going to decide this isn't what I want. So you can't let fear go ahead and be the deciding factor. You can't let fear into a relationship and let it run you and let it take over you. It's okay to be fearful of some things, but you can't let it overrun your life. And I've had this happen in the past, and it's one of the worst things that truly can go ahead and happen in a relationship. What goes with the fear, though, is that you've got to be able to go ahead and communicate. If they're not communicating, guess what? Quit texting. Don't be texting 3 times a day, 10 times a day, 15 times a day. Because guess what? They're not going to answer. Or if they do answer, it's going to be something really short and something that just doesn't sometimes make sense to you because you don't know what they're talking about, because you've got 30 texts in there and they just go ahead and they come back with a 2-word reply. You don't know what they're talking about. It could be, is it from the first message that I sent, or was it from the 30th message that I sent? Don't do it. Fear is a horrible thing. Yes, we need to be fearful of some things. If you're out in the middle of the ocean and your ship goes down, yeah, I'd be fearful of sharks. Yeah, I'd be fearful that nobody would ever come and find me. Of course, that's real fear. Just because somebody goes ahead and they pull away from you a little bit, or even if they go ahead and they tell you, hey, I'm going to be busy for the next couple of weeks, so you're not going to hear from me much. Guess what? That means that they're going to be busy for the next couple of weeks and you're not going to hear from them much. It's not their fault that you basically get adrenaline rushes or whatever when you talk to them or hear from them. And then you have to go ahead and overcompensate for that by sending extra texts or calling more often. They told you that they're going to be busy. Just go ahead and let them be busy. Fear can be such a terrible thing. It really it can ruin relationships. It can ruin jobs. If you're sitting there at work always worried about, oh, I'm gonna get fired. If I don't do this, I'm gonna get fired. If I'm not this for this, I'm gonna get fired. Everything is just building up. If I don't do this one thing today, I'm not gonna go ahead and be able to clean my house. If I don't do this one thing, if I don't get this one thing, I'm not going to be able to go ahead and go to the grocery store. It's crazy. And you know what? I don't like this one either. I don't like fear. I will tell you all right now, my biggest thing is when there's silence. I hate silence because, like I said, when you have silence, you start going ahead and making up things in your head. You sit there and you wonder, what are they doing? Are they with someone else? I don't know. Do you know what they're doing? And it just becomes this big cycle that's totally awful. And you make up things in your head. You don't allow them the space that they need. Say you're seeing somebody and they say, I need space. What are you going to do? Okay, yeah, all right, space. And then in your head, oh, it's been 2 days. That's enough space. Let me start texting. Well, they don't want to hear from you. They don't want to talk to you. So you send one text. Then they don't talk to you the next day. So you send 3 texts. They don't talk to you the next day. So you send another 3 or 4 texts. They still don't talk to you. Guess what? They told you that they were going to be busy, or they told you that they needed some space. And that's not giving them space. That's just going ahead and relieving your anxiety. The reason that you're doing this is because you're fearful and your anxiety gets up. So you feel like you have to fill in the empty spaces. You feel like you have to go ahead and reach out to them so that you can get some type of reassurance from them that everything is okay. Well, like I said earlier, life is not black and white. You have 5% black, 5% white, 90% in the middle gray. And guess what? It's the gray that goes ahead and shows up every single time. The only thing that's black and white usually is mostly the police. Not the government so much, but relationships sure is, excuse my language, hell, aren't black and white. It's gray all over. And you have to adapt and you have to figure out what's going on, and you have to be okay with changes. Now, I'm not saying that if you have 2 and 3 weeks worth of no contact, well, guess what? Maybe you need to move on. Or maybe they're just busy. Or who knows? They could be in a hospital. I know one time I went in the hospital, I forgot my phone. When the ambulance came and picked me up, nobody with me, and I did not have a phone for 5 days in the hospital. Next thing I know, I get my phone. I had one of my friends go get my phone at my place because I could remember their number. And who remembers numbers nowadays? But I remembered their number, was able to call them up and say, hey, my phone is at my place. I'm in the hospital. Could you come up here and get my keys and get my phone from my place and bring it up to me, please? I had like 15 missed calls, at least 40 texts. Where are you? Are you okay? What's going on? I was supposed to come over. Now you're not there. and everything like that. And stuff happens. It does. It's not usually a good thing when you get some silence, but when you do get silence, let the silence go ahead and be there. It's gonna be all right. Even if it's the most important person that you've ever met in your life, guess what? There's still going to be issues from time to time. You just have to get through them. Who knows what they could be? They could be things that are simple. They could be things that are complicated. But communication is the key. If they say, I need space, go ahead and give them some space. If they say, I'm going to be really busy, you're not going to hear from me that much, go ahead, maybe send a message a day or a message every other day. It's not just simple little stuff. Hey, miss you. Hope you're well. Hope everything's going well. Stuff like that. You don't need to get into these 14 paragraph, 3,000 word texts saying how terrible life is without you. And you know the worst part is that we're all capable of that. We've all sometimes done that, me included. But it is what it is. But don't live in fear. Fear can go ahead and ruin everything. If you have too much fear in a relationship, you're worried that they're out running around. You're worried that they're doing stuff that they shouldn't, or they just don't make time for you. Sometimes that fear is real. But with communication, being open about things, talking about things, you can go ahead and you can get through it. Want to say today thank you to New Era, who I'd go ahead and I'd like to be sponsored by. You'll be seeing different caps from me. It's baseball season now, so you're going to see all my baseball caps. In football season, you'll start seeing all my football caps. Then finally, we also want to go ahead and throw a shout out to Wisco shirts. This is one of my favorites. It says "Let's Day Drink" on the front, and on the back it says established 1848 Wisconsin, and it's got it says out drinking your state since 1848, and then it's got an outline of the state of Wisconsin. It's hilarious. Yes, that's all that they do up in Wisconsin. Just kidding. But there are bars on every corner, and it is a lot of fun. But we haven't talked about that before, but we will one of these days. Anyways, don't let fear motivate you. Don't let it do anything to you to where you're living in fear, and you have to catch yourself when you're coming out of that fear. And y'all have a great day. Hope you hear from me soon. Oh, and I hit the wrong button, so I stopped. But remember to subscribe and like. We need that. Tell your friends. And this is, not just for us old folks. You young folks get into this stuff too. All right. Thank you much. Good night. I'm out.